Hey, this is Shaun with the Atlanta Tennis Podcast, powered by Go Tennis. Check out our calendar of Metro Atlanta tennis events at letsgotennis.com. And if you're a fan of Bull Shark Sports, go to shop.letsgotennis.com. Get yourself a hoodie or a hat. Also, we want to hear from you on the podcast. So if you have a story to share, go to letsgotennis.com/my story. And you might have your story featured on the Atlanta Tennis Podcast. We've even got some pretty nice little giveaways. We will give away one a month at least. Today is Youth Sports Talk with Coach Ben Hestley. Today's talk attempts to answer the question, the season's over, now what? Ben, you ready to talk youth sports?
Let's do it.
All right, today's conversation asks that question. The season's over, now what do we do? Where do you want to start, Ben?
So this question today really targets the player, maybe the younger, sort of younger ages or new to sport type players that you've played a recreational season of baseball or softball or soccer, or maybe taken a season of tennis classes. And now we're drawing to a close on that. And you're not going to play in the summer, right? Some of our kids go on and play on travel ball teams or all-star teams or whatever. But, for a lot of kids, they don't have that option. And so what do you do in the summertime? How do I keep getting better as a player and an athlete in general? And so that's where today's conversation is going to be targeted, is those younger ages or new to sport type kids that have just finished a season of a recreational sport, and what's going to be next for them in the next few months as we get into the summer.
So in that case, it isn't just season to season. So winter, let's say I play basketball and the season's over. Now what? Well, now it's spring. Go play some tennis. Well, then when that happens, the season's over. It's summer. Well, let's jump in the pool and we're going to go swim. So there's almost always the thing that the parent does to say, okay, what's next for the kid? But we're really talking about maybe that downtime where there's nothing specifically going on, and you guys may be going to vacation, maybe going to a beach. What am I doing during that time to continue keeping my kid's ability to remember some of those things, hopefully any of those things that he learned during the season?
Yeah, and it's a great time for growth, right? Because it's fresh in your mind, right? If you have some, tennis skill you learn, right? You learn how to rally this season, and you're a red ball kid, and you want to continue upon that, right? Like you're at a prime time now, like, hey, let's keep sort of organically or informally working on those skills that you learn in the organized setting of your recreational season, or your tennis classes or gymnastics classes or whatever the case may be that you did in the spring. Now we get to summer, like you said, maybe they're doing camps, hopefully going on some vacations. And how do we keep building upon those skills? And we're really going to rely on the parents to help lead that a little bit. Some kids will go to camps all week. Parents got to work. I give camps all summer. But a lot of those camps are full, right? If you come off a season of soccer and you're like, hey, I love soccer. Sarah loves soccer. Like, let's just sign up for some soccer camps. Well, it's, here in May, it's going to be too late for that, right? Those soccer camps are probably full, right? I mean, my camp's filled up in March. So it's going to be hard if you're all of a sudden I like a camp or I like a sport. It's going to be hard to get maybe into a camp, but you can still work those skills. You can, like you said, you go to the beach, take the soccer ball with you, kick the ball back and forth with mom and dad on the beach, play some beach soccer, play catch. You can play catch anywhere. It doesn't have to be a baseball glove and a baseball. It could be a football, just a foam ball, a frisbee. When you're out there on the beach, getting a suntan, like, just get up and play catch for 10 minutes, right?
How great would it be? Let's say you got a couple of kids, you and your wife want to lay around, you want to read a book, you want to relax, let the kids play. But if they really just had a soccer ball to kick around, or one of the little tennis rackets and a quick start ball, and they can just whack it around and have some fun. But also remember, these are times for those different kinds of sports as well, because maybe you play a little sand volleyball when you're at the beach. Maybe you throw a frisbee. Maybe your kid is learning different interactions within the physics of this universe that is going to help. It doesn't mean you have to carry around your tennis racket everywhere you go, or I can't play basketball on the beach. It isn't about that specific sport. I mean, youth sports is just, it's spatial awareness. It's all the fun things we get to do. It's strengthening your ankles in the sand as you run. There's so many things you can do besides the sport, which also maybe prevents a little bit of burnout.
Yeah, totally. And makes it more fun. And you're doing something um that's very transferable to whatever organized sport you've been doing or whatever organized sport that you want to be doing. I'll give you a good example. One thing that comes to my mind when we talk about this is my own family, and we were in Hilton Head one summer, and we were on the beach, and my family and I, my wife and two kids, we were just kind of going to hang out on the beach, and we actually took we had pickleball paddles. We took our pickleball paddles and our wiffle ball with us, that you pickleball, whatever. And we found this log that had just kind of drifted up on shore. And this log was there, and the sand, if you know, in Hilton Head and areas around Hilton Head, the sand can be quite hard, right? So it's perfect, right? Because the ball actually bounced a little bit. It doesn't bounce very high, but it does bounce. And so we got our paddles out and we used this log as the net. And my son and daughter, went on and they with their finger drew a line. They drew lines on the court for the court. So we made a little, whatever, 20-foot maybe, paddle court, and we're out there just dinking around right next to the beach. And I tell you what, man, you talk about your ankles and your hand. I mean, my hamstrings were burning after like 5 minutes because the ball doesn't bounce. You got to get, even though the log's not very high, it's only about a foot high, you're still getting super low to dig out these balls. And what a great transferable skill to going on back onto a tennis court where you're having to play low volleys or half volleys or things like that.
Yeah, and that's a fun thing to do. And then I think also of just the beach is a good example, but you go to the mountains, you go to the lake, whatever it is, bring ping pong paddles and a little ping pong ball. Kids can go in the yard and whack it around and go chase it. And whatever it is, the kids are always learning. They're always having fun, hitting a ball with a stick or just playing catch. All those things are so good for them. And it's just the mindset that it sends me into is letting the kids experience the world and getting them off the iPad, getting them out of school, getting them out of that classroom setting, getting them into the real world of wind, and maybe even if storms come, you got to pack up and you got to go inside. Make the kids go get the ping pong pad, go get the toys and bring them in and give them some responsibility. But it's one of those things where you've also got to just put down the phone. You got to say, hey, I'm gonna be here with my kids, and I'm gonna be here in the moment. We complain about our kids being on the screen too much, but they also learn that from us, right?
Yeah, I mean, how often is it that we're sitting there and a text comes in, or I got to check this email real quick, and it's just, and all of a sudden
No, you're on vacation.
you're locked on that phone for half an hour,
Mm-hmm.
right? So maybe for parent have phone free days, right? I mean, I know we need phones for emergency circumstances, and it can be kind of in today's society can be kind of weird to be out on a hiking trail and have zero communication if someone were
I'm
to
with you, but
break their leg or something. But you don't have to be looking at it all, all hours of the day. I mean, one thing my wife loves to do is just cut the internet off. And there's no option, right? You just cut the internet off. This is just more when we're at home.
yeah.
Just say we're unplugging today, and I'll just go in there and boom, cut the internet off, and we don't have any internet. It means you don't have TV either for us. But you got we really, your kids, the parents really need your help with this, right? That we're getting into this. We've been structured all year. Now we're getting this unstructured time. We know there's going to be, we're going to sleep in a little bit, hopefully, go to bed late. But in the summertime also, it stays light longer.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's great to get out. I love the summer to go out after dinner. It's, if you eat dinner at a decent hour, you're still going to have, an hour or so of daylight afterwards, especially for us here in Atlanta. We're in that weird time zone where it seems like it's light till 9 or 9:30 sometimes.
Yeah.
And you go out there and play catch, go out there and play it, shoot hoops, whatever, right? If you got a basketball goal at your house, shoot hoops. I have a friend who recently bought a basketball goal for his kids, and he was like, I'm tired of these guys on the iPad, and I'm tired of them, playing video games and wanting to watch movies all the time. Not that watching movies are bad, but watch movies all the time. You get an 8-year-old that's binge watching Netflix. That's not a good thing, right?
No, that's not good.
So get them. There's a basketball hoop, and I'll say this: since he's done that, they've been outside playing. She's shooting hoops, and whatever, and sort of organically learning the sport of basketball without it being super organized and structured. So parents need your help on this. Keep those kids active. Find ways to engage. Even as little as speaking of daylight hours, go for something my family and I used to do when our kids were younger, is go for a walk after dinner.
Yeah.
After dinner, it's still daylight for an hour or so. Like I said, just go for a walk, right?
Yeah.
Whatever, and like to your point, Shaun, on that walk, your kids will find, there's a creek down there. Let's hop in the creek and throw some rocks. Let's see if we can jump over the creek, right? We got some rocks. We'll see if we can climb up on them. Let's go climb that tree, right? Let's go play tag here. Like there's little things that they're going to pick up to do, or maybe you're walking on the sidewalk and hey, on the curb, see if you can balance yourself walking across the curb. Like little things like that just organically build athletic skills. That you just can't take for granted in this sort of getting into this downtime of the season.
And clearly remember to do that before bath time.
Yes.
Myself as a child, I'm going to find the
Yeah.
first puddle and I'm going to ruin my outfit. I'm going to
Yeah.
get mud in my ears, especially little
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned rainstorms. I mean, sometimes those summer showers are super fun, right? It's
Yeah,
warm outside, it's hot. You get those summer showers, and kids are running around, sliding. You know, I think about our summer camps, and some of the most fun we've had is, it's pouring down rain all of a sudden, and the kids are just out there, like you said, jumping in puddles, and we're out in the field. They're running and sliding across the field, and
it's fun.
just having a good time, right? Just sort of figuring out body awareness, figuring out themselves and their environment, and how to move. And that's really what it's all about. Just you know, just being more physically active, and just encouraging more of a physical, just a physically active lifestyle.
Yep, I love it. And one last thing, Ben, we want to talk about is as you go to sporting events, let's say this summer, we'll use the best example we've got here in Atlanta. You got one last chance to make it to the Atlanta Open. There's professional tennis
Yeah.
here. We got to go last year. My family and I got to go, and standing next to these guys playing tennis, they're unbelievably good. We go up and say, "Oh, come on, guys, why? Come on, Taylor Fritz, why can't you be a little bit better and win something bigger?" And you stand next to that guy, he is good, and it is inspiring to feel like maybe one day my kid, or I remember when I used to be kind of nowhere near that good, but it's inspiring to go see these people play. And yeah, it's a little hot, and bring a towel, but we've got a trip planned. Go Tennis is Where's Go Tennis? There we go. Go Tennis is planning on doing a trip. You can get tickets. We've got it on the west side. It's in the shade, but that's a shameless plug for what we're doing. But it's the last time we're going to have that. But Ben, the point there is when you go, don't just go for yourself to watch some tennis and hand your kid the phone and get them to sit there and be quiet. Get them to engage, get them to watch and pay attention. Even if they can't handle it the whole time, get them to stay there and be engaged. You go to a baseball game, a basketball, whatever you have now time in the summer to do, engage in while you're there and enjoy it. Don't just end up showing up and again ending up on your phone or iPad.
Yeah, I mean, you can learn a lot. I tell all my baseball kids, go watch a game. It doesn't have to be the Atlanta Braves, right? Because that can be expensive and timely. Go watch Gwinnett Stripers.
Yeah.
Gwinnett Stripers is a perfect way to go, right? And go watch them play. And actually, I always tell my kids, like, pick a position to watch each inning. Like, I'm going to watch the shortstop. I'm going to watch the pitcher. I'm going to watch the first baseman. I'm going to watch the base runners this time. I mean, I remember last summer we had a chance to go watch the Dodgers and the Braves play, and my son and I got tickets. My wife actually got them for us, and four of us were sitting on the third base side, and we got an incredible lesson in base running from Mookie Betts. Just watching him steal second, watching him take leads from second base and trying to get to third. I mean, that was a great lesson just watching him play. And the same to your point about the Atlanta Open. It's the last year we're going to have the Atlanta Open here in our city. We've had it for many years. It's a great event. Take your kids to it. If they play a little bit of tennis, take them to it. And the thing I always laugh at when I go to the event, or any pro tournament for that matter, is how small they make the court look. I'm like, there's no way. I'm sitting there like, I want to get my tape measure. Like, there's no way these guys are playing on the same court we're playing on. Like, it's got to be a smaller court, right? But they're so big, they're so fast and agile, and they make the court that we play on every day look so small.
Yeah, and how big it feels when we get out there and "Oh, I just can't cover this whole space. It's
Yeah.
too much." And you watch them, it's like you just can't get it by 'em.
Yeah. Yeah, and you'll learn so much. Like you'll just learn so much. We talked about this in previous shows about the kids that seem advanced. You're like, how does that kid have such good IQ or such a good athlete at such a young age? Well, maybe that kid has just been exposed to the sport, right? He's gone to or she's gone to countless baseball games or countless tennis matches. And just don't take for granted what your kid's picking up organically just sitting there watching. You know. And not only do you learn, like especially in tennis, not only do you learn like the strategies and tactics of the game, or maybe you pick up, I like Taylor's forehand, how he hits, or how Isner serves, or whatever. You also pick up some etiquette, like how the game is played, what happens on changeovers, what are they doing, right? And you learn that sort of, sportsmanship aspect of the sport as well.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn with it. So we highly recommend it, especially the last chance. Like I said, it's hot. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's hot. It's downtown. It's no fun." I'm guessing most of those people have never actually done it. There are cool tents. There are multiple places you can go sit, multiple courts to watch, food trucks, vendors. You can take breaks. You can go in and out. I mean, it's not that expensive as a professional event goes. So we suggest that as well this summer because from a tennis point of view, you can learn a lot. It's really
But
good.
if you get outside and you're active through the months of May and June, early July, you will be ready to handle the heat in July and go into a tournament like the Atlanta Open will be no big deal, right? The only way to beat the heat, Shaun, is to get out in the heat and get
Get
used to
used
it.
to it. Yeah. I
Get
mean,
used
even
to it.
as tennis coaches, we have to do the same thing. The first few hot days, which actually been the last couple of weeks as we record
Yeah.
this, first few hot days are tough for anybody. You just got to get used to it. The kids that are used to being out in the sun are going to be able to handle it. Ben, great
Yeah.
advice. I appreciate it. This has been
All right. Keep your kids busy this summer, parents.
keep them busy. I like it. Youth Sports Talk with Coach Ben Hestley. Thank you, sir. We'll talk again next time.
All right. Have a great day.